What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we have the brand new arena against Master Caesar, and this character is a pretty interesting unit. Not my favorite arena character that has released thus far, but the content itself is pretty bizarre, and we'll talk more about it as we get into this video. I have 4 different teams that will be able to beat this content today. One of the teams, of course, is going to be utilizing like the whole new batch, so don't mind that. But if you have the new batch, you can obviously do that. If you don't, there's going to be a lot of other teams that you'll be able to use to take on this event. So let's just quickly talk about Caesar first before we actually get into the content. So Caesar Clown is an INT cerebral driven. Captain effect is whatever, but a special ability that reduces despair and bind duration by 2 turns, and then does 40 times his attack in typeless damage to all enemies. So damage dealing special is nice at least. He then applies poison to all enemies and gives you a conditional boost against poisoned or venomed enemies, and the multiplier that he gives you for that conditional boost will alternate depending on how many times you've launched the special throughout the quest. So on first activation, it's a 1.5 times conditional boost, the second activation is 1.75 times, and then the third activation will give you a 2 times conditional boost to the poisoned or venomed enemies. So that is the breakdown of Caesar. Like, nothing too crazy, honestly, and he doesn't even have like a really unique support effect either, which is a huge downside because a lot of these arena characters have actually had usable supports, and unfortunately Caesar does fall short. So that is the rundown, the very brief rundown of the arena Caesar. He's just okay. Don't really understand or know where you're going to really use this character. I haven't looked at the treasure map yet that is going to be upcoming to global, but I would guess he's going to be usable somewhere there. But anyways, that is the rundown of the arena Caesar. Let's actually now jump into the content and break down the teams that I have for you guys today to take on this content. So jumping into the video today, the first team that we have is going to be a hybrid of Law and Mihawk, the Halloween hybrid. Absolutely love this combination because these 2 characters will innately remove any despair or paralysis that we're going to be inflicted with in this boss fight, making it a lot easier because we do have to deal with paralysis multiple times in this quest. There's also bind as well, but then also despair a little bit later on. Stage 3, we're dealing with this Caesar boss character here. Now, the main way that we're getting around the poison that we get inflicted here is by using the support of the treasure map Shiryu. Such a good character. When you have that support, anytime you're inflicted with poison, it will just remove it and it gives you a bit of health recovery on that following turn. And the thing about it is that if you activate some type of effect that removes poison, it will change the poison slots that you are inflicted with into matching slots, and you'll see a couple different ways that we're able to get around that in this quest today. But we are using the effect of Shiryu on that first activation. And another character that's going to be very useful here is going to be the Magellan and Hannibal dual unit. With their switch effect, they actually remove poison when you activate their switch ability, meaning that if you are inflicted with poison slots, if you activate their switch effect, it just gives you a full board of matching slots when you are inflicted with those poison slots. Really, really nice. Now you see on this brown beard stage, he does give you poison slots, but then puts your captain's slots into the impossible changing barriers. Very, very annoying. So you do have to activate an effect to get around that, either by having a potential ability like Legend Reiju does, the new Summer Reiju, or you just have to use tap timing in order to get around it, which is what we do for this particular variation of the fight here. We also have Rare Recruit Jack, who's really good because he actually removes the 5 turns of bind and also the 5 turns of attack down that we're inflicted with on this stage. Unfortunately, I do actually fail to kill in this turn here because I had really terrible tap timing, but ideally, if you do attack with your correct tap timing, you will be able to clear this stage in 1 turn. Even though you'll see that on the first turn, if you do not kill him, he's going to go ahead and buff his own attack, and he also makes your ships basically invalid for the next 10 turns. So that obviously makes a big difference. We're losing 50% of damage, or we're losing 1.5 times boost due to not having that ship active, which really does suck. But if you want to make sure before that second turn, otherwise he's going to blow away your middle row, so make sure to kill him before that second turn. And the final boss Caesar is very annoying, and the main reason for it is because he limits the amount of damage that you can do to him. So with this variation here, we're basically killing him over 3 separate turns. With this stage here, what we're doing, we use the switch effect of Magellan and Hannibal to give us those full border slots. We're going to be using Shirahoshi Mancherry to our advantage in stage 2. You guys will see how it works. But we're using the Law and the Mihawk because they actually give us multiple turns of an attack and an orb boost. So turn 1, we get a 2.25 attack and orb boost. Once we hit our 3 perfects, we're going to be getting a 2.5 5 times orb and attack boost on the next stage. But in terms of gimmicks, on the first turn, the preemptive attack, he gives us paralysis. The turn after that, which is after the first turn of attacks, he's actually going to despair us for 6 turns. Luckily, Law can get around that. And then in order to get around the burn and the chain lock that's given to our crew, we can utilize Shirahoshi and Man Sharing. Now, to make sure that Caesar doesn't change our slots in the next turn, we're going to use the Mihawk super type to give us a full board of matching slots, switching Mancherry back into Shirahoshi to change them into rainbow slots, and then using the Mancherry and Shirahoshi special to get around those 2 debuffs of burn and chain lock. And because we have the support of Custard, our int character slots are going to be locked. It's such a great combination, works so well. And then once again, we are damage limited to 20 million damage. He does have 45 million HP, which means in a lot of cases you will have to kill him over 3 turns. The third turn though, he's going to give himself defense up and a resilience buff. The resilience is for 2 turns, the defense up is for 3 turns, and we're also tap limited. You can only use a certain amount of taps. I think it's 4 taps for that turn. And we're using this Arena Mihawk, who's really good here because he can get rid of the defense and the resilience buff, and he gives us a chain lock. And then we also have the conditional boost of Magellan and Hannibal for just a little bit of extra damage to kill the Caesar. Now, the second team that we have here is a bit of an interesting one. We're going ahead and using Yamato. Now, I did want to build a Yamato initially. I was initially going to be planning to use a Sai Yamato with a Roger Friend Captain, but I couldn't get it to work exactly how I wanted, so I decided to opt for INT Yamato instead because we have a lot more type advantage, obviously. So with this team here, we are relying heavily on support. So you can see we have Barto support on Nami Robin to get around that extra bit of paralysis there on stage 2. We also have the support of Shiryu to change those poison slots into matching on stage 3, and then the Yamato special to change all of those matching slots that we had received via the poison slot removal. We can change them into Wano slots and then lock them via the Custard support. We are going to be using a lot of orb lock on this team to ensure that these Wano slots stay with us for the entire duration of the quest. But because there's so many turns to go, we need a lot of orb locking. Custard support, also using the 2 Yamato super types, also with the Megalo ship. Like, there's lots of orb locking on this team, and it does work quite well. You can see that we are using the rare recruit Bello Betty. There wasn't really too many characters that could kind of fulfill that role of not only removing despair, but also helping us get around the chain lock that we have to deal with as well. Now, I do make a little bit of a mistake later on in this quest. During that, the first turn of attack, or the second turn of attack, should I say, we actually somehow decide to get rid of the Wano slots on our captain. You guys will see it a little bit later on. Make a little bit of an error, but it actually doesn't matter at the end of the day. Onigashima Luffy making an appearance, such a good unit getting around the attack down, and also gives us a 2 times attack boost for our crew. Such a powerful unit. He's an int character, works well with Yamato, of course. Now, in order to get around this particular fight, once again, we have the Arena Mihawk because he's just so good for that third turn of stage 5 because he can get around the defense and the resilience. But then also we have the Nami Robin, as we said a little earlier, because they can actually remove the paralysis on the final boss stage, as well as giving us a 2.5 times orb boost to our int characters. We just get a lot of damage because of it. And then, of course, the Yamato super types providing all of those orb locking mechanics, which is going to be very, very useful. So we want to make sure that we do as much damage as we can, really. And the second turn, we don't have a unit that removes the burn, and I wasn't really too sure how much damage the burn was going to be doing. So we do see here that the burn is actually not as significant as what I thought. I think it's 4,000 damage per perfect, so it's actually like reasonable. I was expecting it to be something crazy like 10 or 20k per perfect, but luckily it's actually relatively low burn, so we don't really have to worry about it too much. And then we also have the buggy support attached to Bello Betty, just to give Bello Betty a 2 times attack boost, just to make sure we have enough extra damage. And with this, in the final turn, of course, we are going to be going ahead and using the Mihawk, which provides us with the ability of the chain lock and the utility. And then we have Yamato to change block orbs that we would receive into Wano slots once again. Increased damage taken will still be applied to the enemy because they don't have a full immunity buff, and actually got the job done reasonably well. So if you have the applicable units in their supports, definitely a really solid team. So now we're moving into a more ideal team that you would be using in order to farm this content, and the best way to farm this content is with a Reiju friend captain. We all know that it's annoying to use the latest legend release as like the farming friend captain because sometimes they are difficult to locate, and I completely understand that, which is why I provided 2 additional teams that don't use that kind of strategy. But if you do have the applicability of using Reiju, you should definitely build a team around that. Because what Reiju is able to do is amazing for this content. So every time you're inflicted with poison, she's automatically going to launch her special, which means on stage 3, she uses her special automatically, which removes poison, changes poison slots into matching, gets rid of the paralysis, gives you an attack boost for 3 turns, which you can use on stage 3, and also on stage 4. And remember, if you do build around her and have a cerebral and powerhouse only characters on your team, you get access to her super type, which gives you an orb boost whenever you need it. And then of course you can use her special ability later on in the quest to remove the poison slots on the first turn of the Caesar fight. Now remember, the damage limiter effect of Caesar is very annoying to get around, but remember, when you activate Reiju on the first turn of the Caesar boss fight on stage 5, what happens is if you do 20 million damage on that first turn, the poison will do an additional 5 million damage to Caesar, meaning you can actually kill Caesar in 2 turns rather than 3. So that's why I would advise, if you can build a team around having Reiju as your friend captain, I would definitely advise doing it. Otherwise, most teams will take 3 teams to actually get the job done. So if you do have access to Reiju, definitely build around that. If not, then of course you will have to take a little bit longer in order to kill these quests. And of course, with no surprise to anybody, the final team in this video is going to be my farming team for this content. Now, I'm not 100% sold on the Monet and the Baby 5 on this team. They only really use them because they're, they're boosted units. But the thing is like, these units don't really provide any, benefits to really using them on the team. So you don't really need those characters at all. But the Koala and the Bello Betty are really, really good rare recruits for this quest, and running double Reiju makes things a lot easier as well, as you can stack their specials over multiple turns. You get multiple activations of their super type, just obviously a breeze, obviously. Like, there's no beating around the bush there. If you have Reiju as an applicable unit for this quest, it's not going to be too difficult. But anyways, if you guys were lucky enough to summon for Reiju, which, I mean, not too many people would be, of course, and I highly advise not pulling on the Summer Girl Sugo Fest, would highly advise saving those rainbow gems for a bigger Sugo Fest moving forward. But if you do have the Reiju, this is a really good team that will be able to get the job done. You don't have to do any stalling prior to this stage, as long as you are using the host ship as your obviously choice of ship. Giving the additional cooldown helps you a lot in this quest. There was actually a run that I did where I didn't use the host ship. I actually used Zunisha instead, and I actually got to a point where I actually needed to stall 1 turn just to make sure my special was ready when I needed it. So if you have your Reiju's limit break expanded, you don't need to worry about it. But just letting you know that I would highly advise running the host ship if you don't have the expansion. The extra cooldown actually does make a bit of a difference. But that is going to wrap up this video today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
"あなたもどう？楽しいわよ。